Thanks, Keith. As Keith said, my name is Chad Tucker. I'm the director of our content and process automation practice, and I oversee the development of our yoga platform.
And I'm Melissa Olson. I'm a director over for services and solutions at RPI, formerly HCM consultant, HCM practice director, a lot of hats, but I'm here because I've got the HCM background. So we put this together, not just this presentation, but the project that Chad's going to be referencing, because of organizations having this kind of paper process where they request contractors and track contractors, and there's more flexibility now in GHR to be able to track them as resources, non-employee resources, but there's still the whole gap around how do we request them, how do we approve them, how do we manage them once they're in the system. And we put together a pitch of blending some services, and we've just in the midst of an implementation right now for this product, and it's a product that I think a lot of organizations need. It's a gap that a lot of organizations need to fill. So we wanted to kind of talk about it today.
So speaking of talking about people.
Talking about people.
So organizations have, basically two categories of people that work for them, right? You have your employees, you have your independent contractors, consultants, staff augmentation resources, presenters, right? You have different groups of people that need access to maybe your facilities or your systems to help you do business. For employees, right, there's a pretty set path that they follow. They go through recruiting and onboarding process. They go through identity access management to get access. They get access to these systems, and it's a pretty well-defined process and really streamlined. For non-employees, it's not as straightforward because there's a lot of different considerations for non-employees.
Yeah. So, when we're talking about who do we need in the system, there's some questions that I kind of like to prompt. We talk about our GHR system as our system of record for our people that are, our employees or our resources that work for us. And then there would be probably another system that is our vendor management system that manages, vendor contracts and any information around vendors. So some non-employees don't necessarily need to make it into Infor. We'll kind of talk about that workflow in a little bit, but what we want to get to is how do we determine who we need to get in the system. So, they're not a W-2 employee. They are, if they're 1099, do we pay them out of our payroll system as a 1099, or do we use the AP system and they invoice and they're paid out of that area? Do they need access to any of your systems in your organization? Because if they need access, they need an identity management, and they need credentials, and we need to track them. Do they fall in the hierarchy structure for your employees? So there's a lot of healthcare that we see. They have contractors, contractor nurse managers, or other people in roles that are not W-2 employees, but they need, to be able to use manager space, right. Be able to do action on the direct reports who are employees. So, I'm not going to read all of these questions, but it's just kind of a good guideline to think through how are these people going to be working in your organization, and does it warrant them having access to being in your GHR system? So we kind of talked about what that workflow looks like. So this is already assuming, excuse me, that we have approval for this contractor or non-employee resource to get in the system. If not, we can talk about, do we need an approval process before the initiation? But the manager or a delegate or the system would create an invitation for this non-employee to fill out their information. So it goes up to the employee as an email. They go in to a portal and they validate their information. They accept the invitation, and they create their, then they are asked to create their portal access credentials. So then they're able to log in and update all of their information. So we want them to be able to manage their information throughout the process, throughout the tenure that they'll be at the organization. So it's not just a one and done. You know, we're not just saying, okay, we're giving access to your contractors to fill out some information about themselves so we can create an account, but we're also saying as they're here, they may have to change information. They may, you know, have to update contract or update dates of when they are coming or leaving. And if we go through that checklist and determine they need access to Infor, we will also, you know, be able to get Infor access, identity management access, or privileged identity management access. So on the downstream of this, you can see the manager or the delegate is able to see the status of this invitation, everything that non-employee is already doing, and then they can do approvals, they can make updates. So now they have a portal. This person will not be in their manager space because it's contractor, but this person is still able to get their information updated by the requester in this portal. I think I covered most. Oh, and then the last thing is, you know, we want to create that new non-employee record. The workflow of the current organization that we're doing, we're saying if they don't need to be in the GHR access GHR function or access any other system credentials, then, we don't need to manage them in Infor as a non-employee. We just give them their credentials. We send them to the identity management system and they get credentials and that's it. Or they can go into Infor, create an Infor resource record, as well as get credentials there. So some of the capabilities of this solution, we were kind of talking about that portal to be able to offer people who are not employees, who do not have access to employee space or manager space, to be able to update their own information. This cuts down on hand keying, so now a person's not getting an email and then sending us as contractors an email to say what's your information, and then taking our information and then keying it into another system. So you know, it cuts down on that human element of data entry. And then it's a single mobile-friendly web interface that they don't need software to access. They can fill it out, you know, in any format on tablets, phones, whatever. And then it's intuitive. We're trying to make that user experience kind of look and feel like the Infor user experience that we're used to, a little bit more seamless. So we aren't going into multiple systems and emails to manage this non-employee. And then we're also leveraging the best of the Infor product with workflows, approvals, data validation, the things that are already underneath the covers with the GHR system. So we've also created some bidirectional integrations between this content platform and Infor, GHR, as well as the identity management system. And then there's reporting dashboard, and Chad's going to kind of go a little bit more into the solution now, talking about requirements, talk about people, talk about requirements.
Now let's see.
Let's stop talking and let's see some stuff.
All right. Yeah. So the big thing here is this workflow of non-employees is, you know, onboarding them, recertifying them, and offboarding them as necessary, because contractors typically have a finite period in your organization which you want to make sure that they have access. So that recertification process is a big thing, and making that easy for your managers to do, to say, okay, this initial contract 6 months, I get a notification 30 days out that it's about to expire. I'm like, oh, actually, I knew this person's going to be here for another 6 months. They can recertify that. Or if they say, you know what, the contract's over, go ahead and terminate that. So making all that easy for that onboard, recertify, offboard workflow for a non-employee solution. So introducing yoga content for GHR. This is a solution built on a platform that RPI has been developing. You know, commonly we use this in the AP and the FSM space, but we've recently started developing some stuff for our GHR area. But some of the core features of yoga: it's a multi-tenant SaaS solution built on Microsoft Azure Cloud. So it's secure, it's scalable. As we update anything about the application, it's all managed by RPI. It's very user-friendly, HTML5 web browser user and portal interfaces. So it works on all modern browsers, phones, tablets, workstations like Melissa was saying. And we can customize workflows, forms, integrations, automation, and reporting. So everything about these main capabilities of the platform are customizable. Talk a little bit more about that in the coming slide. Intelligent document capture, real-time integration, and transaction posting with Infor Cloud Suite. We can quickly and easily build even custom REST APIs. So if you want to integrate this with other third-party applications, we can build those. We can consume them. You can expose custom ones for other applications to consume. And also all comes with premium support services for a completely managed experience. And that's a real differentiator here. That we're not nickel and diming you over changes and updates, because a lot of your organizations are very dynamic and have changes and have things happening to them. And you want a system and a partner that can accommodate those changes that your business goes through. So fully customizable forms, form actions. We can hook up the form to different third-party data sources, so APIs, SQL servers. We mentioned several times the out-of-the-box integration with cloud, so mobile friendly. But a lot of organizations have different requirements in terms of the types of data they want to capture. Some of it's going to be pretty common from your demographic information, your name information, but maybe there's something very specific about this non-employee that you're trying to capture. If it's the position that they're working, or the project that they're working on, or what vendor that they work with. So we work with you in the implementation to say, what exactly should this form look like? And it's very easy for us to customize that. We also have intuitive list views to make searching for your non-employees easy. So we can filter on any of the data that we're capturing on the form here in the list view. So you can quickly and easily see your start date and end date of your contractors, their name, their job title, their reporting manager. So you can quickly find who you're trying to manage.
And it's also helpful if you just need a listing of how many non-employee contractors do you have in an organization. And we've had this discussion before about locations. If there are any kind of emergencies that happen at a location, then you want to be able to track not only your employees, but whomever is your non-employee that could be on site, so you can send a notification out to these people when there's...
Yep, and those list views can be exported as Excel documents if you need to work with it easily outside of the system as well. Custom workflows and automation. So, organizations may have different approval workflows for onboarding new employees. Even once you're approved to hire a non-employee, maybe someone in HR wants to review this record, or maybe someone in IT wants to review this record before it actually makes it downstream into the identity access management. We can customize these workflows very easily with a graphical user interface and add any types of automation to those workflows. So as documents enter a certain work queue, we can make it trigger something. As documents leave a certain work queue, we can make it trigger emails, integrations to other applications. So all within Yoga content. And additionally, we talked about the out-of-the-box integration with Infor, but we do this through the ION API gateway. You can see kind of some architecture here that this is all managed within the Azure cloud. We federate the trusts with your own internal identity access management systems for your internal employees who need to access and use this system, and also integrate with your IAM for your non-employees to put them in there to give them access to the things that they need.
And Chad mentioned earlier about not nickel and diming, and it's a managed process. So we make sure that on the multi-tenant cloud, that if there are any changes that come to the underlying GHR functionality, and those may affect this process, the process is updated. Any changes that your organization pushes forward, those are updated under this support feature. There is proactive system management and a change control process in here. So again, we've got all of the agreements put in place of what are those SLAs, service level agreements. If anything's going on, that you've got somebody at the other end of the phone or an email that will take care of any issues or do any updates right away. There is you know, again, we just talked about the support for the modifications and those extensions, and it reduces risk. So we have this client that we said we can build this for you, and then you can maintain it. And this is not what they want to maintain. They have, it's a healthcare organization. There are other priorities around applications that are patient support, patient care, critical care. Those are the places they need to be spending their time and their resources. And they just say, just let us give you the requirements, and please take care of this and manage this for us. So this is one less application we have to worry about maintaining. So we are doing that, and all of our consultants that work on these projects, all of our consultants actually at RPI are certified in Infor and in other content process automation tools. So I know that content process automation team has multiple certifications with different products, and those certifications kind of go into the underlying code stacks in building this product.
Yep, so you're on an HR process being supported by Yoga. You're going to have someone who's certified in Infor HR who can answer those questions in context of the business case, not just of the system or the software. You have an AP product, you're going to have an AP focus and FSM specialized resource who can answer questions, make recommendations in context of the actual business context, not just from the system itself.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because it is, being able to interpret what are those requirements that we need on the function side, and then be able to deliver that into a technical specification. So, it's that translator kind of in the middle that we'll be working with you.